Hi everybody, welcome to my homestead and welcome to my channel. My name is Jared and I'm back from doing my errands. So I'm going to continue with these different stories I want to hit up. And the next one on deck this is an email from Sherry Kennedy. As you can see, it doesn't have her email here, so I can just read directly from the email. Trumpets, excuse me, trumpets, trumpets on BYU Jerusalem Center, Oregon. Hello again, Jared, and Merry Christmas to you and the family. Well, Merry Christmas to you, Sherry, and to your family. I was watching your video on trumpets. So if you guys missed it, I did a video I would highly encourage that you watch. It's this one right here, 2 videos ago. He shall sound his trump, both long and loud, and the wall of the city shall fall down flat. Just as a recap, I went over the 4 sets of 7 trumpets in the scriptures. The first set is in the book of Joshua. The 7 priests blew their trumpets, the people shouted, and the walls of Jericho fell down. And I felt like that story is a foreshadowing of the second coming, and when Christ comes to reign and to take Jericho, the world, so to speak. We did the Hosanna shout. And then, we looked forward to these other trumpets. The next set you find in the book of Revelation, and they all have to do with judgments coming down upon the earth. Fires, disasters, ships, upon the water sinking, just all these different things. So judgments of God coming upon the world. And then the next 2 sets of 7 trumpets is in D and C. And both sets are in section 88. So the next set would be the trumpets that have to do with essentially the resurrection, the quickening, and then the different types of people and what happens to them. All classes of people from celestial down to telestial and some more things. That's what those set of trumpets have to do with. And the first one is what starts the resurrection and translation process when Christ comes. And then the next 6 after that happen after that. And then there is the final set of 7 trumpets, and those have to do with revealing everything that's been going on in this world. 1 trumpet per 1,000-year period, the secret acts of men, the doings of the Lord that we didn't know about. Everything's going to be revealed. Okay, so very interesting. And we talked about how 2022 seems to be a really loud year, both with signs in the heavens and in the earth, and the big call up for missionaries this year, sounding their trumpets, possibly for the last time, and just how we might be at that point when the first trumpet is going to sound of the 3rd set of trumpets in D&C 88, or the first set in D&C 88. And the resurrection and the quickening. Are they about to happen? I don't know. So anyway, that's the idea here and what she's talking about. So she says, as I was watching your video on trumpets, and with all honesty, you may have talked about all this and I missed it. I'm a busy Relief Society president, and sometimes phone calls are many and I get distracted. Smiley face. But in your video, I do not remember you mentioning anything about the pipes of the organ of the BYU Jerusalem Center. Correct. I did not talk about it in the video that I was just talking about. We have noticed them before because I have a whole playlist about the BYU Jerusalem Center. I tend to be of the opinion that its future is destined to become a temple, essentially. It may not be the temple that fulfills scripture. I know that it wasn't designed for that purpose, but no one can say what the Lord has in mind for it. It may be turned into a temple during the millennium. I don't know. But there's a lot of miracles that went into this center, and I can't believe it's just so that BYU students could have hands-on experience in Jerusalem. Although that may be an important mission, missionaries gave their lives so that this would be a possibility. Elder Holland talked about how we probably don't know the future of this building, but that the Lord probably has a glorious purpose in mind. And it doesn't have to be the type of temple that we're accustomed to thinking of, where we do ordinances and stuff like that. Just like when New Jerusalem gets built and there's a 24 temple complex, those 24 temples are going to serve various functions. Not all of them are going to be for what we currently do in temples. Some will be administrative buildings, some will be schools, and we've already covered all this. And so the BYU Jerusalem Center, it could be, kind of like the headquarters temple in Jerusalem. So, so we've kind of noticed this before. Here's the organ right here. And you can see this very just unusual design. I haven't seen an organ like this before. Of course, I also haven't really paid attention, but this really stood out to me the first time that I saw it, because it visibly, it doesn't take much to picture this as trumpets, right? These look like trumpets. And I have some information about these. Normally pipes of large organs like that are vertical, like on the tabernacle and conference center organs. But on the BYU Jerusalem Center organ, there are banks of horizontal pipes that look, all the world to me at least, like trumpets. And I've never seen such on any pipe organ. Please note that there are 4 banks of 7 trumpets. Yeah, unless you want to count these little ones here too. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, if you count all of those. But anyway, let's blow this up a little bit. Just look a little bit closer at it. They just come right out like that. They're pretty impressive looking to me. I don't know what you think, but I think that's pretty incredible. Okay, go down. This says Parley Belknap at the organ, BYU Jerusalem Center. Another interesting feature about these trumpets is that the organ appears to be positioned directly opposite from the wall of windows/arches on the outside wall, which looks directly out to the Temple Mount. Okay, so here's the auditorium. There's the organ in the back. And here's an outside view. You see they're facing this window. And then when you're in the auditorium, you're looking out and you can see the Dome of the Rock right there. Here, I'll zoom in. This is I wish that I had the opportunity to come visit this, because this view is spectacular, to say the least. But if you don't know, the BYU Jerusalem Center is on Mount Scopus, which is part of the same mountain ridge as the Mount of Olives. So if we were sitting in the auditorium right here, looking this way, the Mount of Olives would be to our left, which would be south of the BYU Jerusalem Center, kind of like south and east. So anyway, there's the Temple Mount right there. Don't know exactly how things are going to play out. I would assume that the third temple will be built, but I don't know. Anyway, so yeah, both the audience and the organ and its trumpets, quote unquote, are pointing out toward the city of Jerusalem. That's really cool. Now, make of that what you will, but I seriously cannot believe that that is all by chance, and those quote unquote trumpets won't one day, possibly quite soon, create a sound of great significance from the Mount of Olives where, as you know, the building is situated. Yeah. Well, again, sorry. I know that you already wrote this email, but yeah, it's on Mount Scopus, but it's on the same ridge as the Mount of Olives. Again, you may have mentioned this in the recent video or one of your earlier videos, but on the outside chance you have not noticed this, I thought I'd share my observation to see if I'm just imagining things or if it seems significant to you as well. Uh, Thanks again for all you do to spread the gospel and help us be aware. It is not lost upon me the amount of time it takes to do what you do, Sherry. Thank you, Sherry. Yes, it does take a lot of time. But I'm being compensated because I get paid in ad revenue. I know people want me to get rid of the ads, or they want me to shorten the videos, or they want me to, whatever. But I can't. I can't, or else I can't do this. This is how this is possible. This is how this world works. But I'm doing my best with this channel to hopefully make a difference in the world. But okay, so I decided to look into this a little bit further, and this is what I found. I came across this blog, The Hollyoaks in the Holy Land. Garth and Kathleen Holyoke will serve at BYU's Jerusalem Center from January 2016 to August 2017. And if they have an email, I'll need to email them and let them know that I'm doing this video so they can watch it. So there's a few additional details here. Let me see. For the past 14 months, I've had the pleasure to perform on this magnificent organ. It was made in Denmark by Markussen and Son, a family business that started in 1806. You guys, I don't know about you, but it seems like Denmark, in those other Scandinavian countries, I feel like that's another place relative to the other locations in Europe that is rich with the blood of Israel. Just based on my experience in the church and just different things that I've heard. Let me know what you think. Here's Kathleen. She's playing the organ. It says, this beautiful instrument, donated by an anonymous donor to BYU, that'd be interesting to find out who that was, is installed in the auditorium on the upper level, 8th floor. The design of this hall, by architect Resnick, is remarkable and a feast for the eyes. The organ was inaugurated in 1987. The two organ cases are made of ash wood and white oak. I just highlight oak because we've talked about President Oaks. If he becomes the next president, like if he's the prophet of the millennium, of the second coming, we've just looked at like the symbolism of oak, and just do a search on my channel. Go over here. Go to the magnifying glass, search oak, and we've done a couple interesting videos about him. And anyway, so white oak is included with ash wood. Okay, and then according to this blog, it says the horizontal pipes in this photo are Spanish trumpets. So I guess that's what these are officially called, Spanish trumpets. I didn't have time to go through the rest of this. I kind of skimmed through to see if there was any story or explanation as to why it was like that, why they decided to do that. The only thing I was really able to find out, here's another view of it. The only other thing I was really able to find out is that there are other organs in the world that have these Spanish trumpets. So I think it's okay. I think this is what it's actually called, or another name for it, in chamade, or I don't know. I don't know how you would pronounce that in French. Refers to powerfully voiced reed stops in a pipe organ that have been mounted horizontally rather than vertically in the front of the organ case, projecting out into the church or concert hall. They produce a commanding, loud, trumpet-like tone used for fanfares and solos. It is known as fan trumpet, horizontal trumpet, and trompete in chamade. And then in the history, it says, first seen in Iberian and Mexican organs of the early 18th century. Iberian refers to the Iberian Peninsula, which is Spain and Portugal. So, yeah, so I guess it has the other name of Spanish trumpets. It seems like that's the first place that they were used. Over here, it has a picture. This is Cathedral of Santiago de Compostela. And let me just zoom in. And you can see they also have the horizontal Spanish trumpets, or whatever you want to call it, in a different fashion and in many, many more than in the BYU Jerusalem Center. But yeah, the thing that stands out about the BYU Jerusalem Center is each one of these has 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So I can only assume, and I guess no one will know, except for the donor or whoever made the ultimate decision. We can only assume that it probably has some symbolism to it, and that maybe they had the 7 trumpets in mind, most likely from the book of Revelation, if anything. Don't know. But yeah, I don't think that's coincidence either. I don't know if they would, have any part as far as like the second coming goes, but it does seem like there's definitely that symbolism there. I'd like to actually be there and listen to them as the organ's being played. I'm sure that it does create a really powerful and spiritual experience. But it's so neat that we have this building that could, at a future date, maybe after the millennium, become a temple. The church is not going to go against the Israeli government. I've looked into this too, by the way. The only agreement that I can find is that we have the agreement not to proselyte. People have said that we have an agreement not to turn this into a different type of building. I haven't seen that anywhere at all. And I'm sure the church would consult with the city of Jerusalem or the Israeli government if they decided that they wanted to change the purpose of the building. But when it comes down to it, the Lord can do anything, right? But the church will not knowingly break the laws of the land. So we're just going to have to wait and see. But this is a really, really cool detail about this building. It looks so amazing. Imagine these 7 angels blowing these trumpets toward the city of Jerusalem. Okay, that's going to be it for this one. If you haven't already, please make sure to subscribe, like this video. If you liked it, leave your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. Also, make sure to share it, and I'll talk to you guys later.